What is going on, everyone? Sam here from Lake Pro Tackle. This video, we're going to be talking about some very special hooks right here from Ryugi, Japan. These are the Pierce slide hooks. We're going to be talking about the back sliding technique, back sliding method. We've got some rigging stuff and a demo package available for y'all. Once you get through watching this video, first one to get it, only one package available. Everything you see in the video, all in one package at a discounted rate for y'all. But back sliding technique, guys. These slide hooks, and there's a lot of different ones out there on the market, but I really enjoy the Pierce slides. The Pierce slides themselves have a Teflon coat to them, very minimal, and each size, the 2 to 3 to 4 to 5/0 hook, changes a little bit in the gauge. Now the 2/0, can you bend it out on a stump? Sure. The 5/0, can you bend it out on a stump? Sure. Ultra strong overall. I really enjoy them. So like I was saying, 4 different sizes in these slide hooks, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All of them a little bit different in wire gauge. Now we're going to be talking about some baits that I like to use, like the backsliding craw from Evergreen. These came out about a year ago. They're going to be heavy weighted, and we're going to talk about different plastics you can use, how you can customize your own plastics, as well as the hooks themselves to give you this backsliding technique. Now, why is the backsliding technique important, especially in the summertime and really all times of the year when fish stick on pieces of cover, whether it's a brush pile, whether it is a boat dock, whether it's a stump or something like that? A lot of baits cover a certain amount of water only for a short time. Reaction style baits like chatterbaits or spinner baits or crankbaits, anything like that that constantly moves through the strike zone, that fish only has a second, maybe half a second to react and chase that bait down. Now, whether you're fishing something like a Carolina rig or a Texas rig, or you're dragging a big jig or something like that, really all depends on how fast, number one, you're actually dragging it, and number two, how long you let it sit in the strike zone with dead action. What dead action to me means is you're just letting it sit there, you're dead sticking, it's doing absolutely nothing. Now, can it be an amazing technique to get fish to eat? Yes, absolutely. But when you mix a reaction style bite and a hunger/curiosity style bite, which we've talked about in the past, you create an environment and a system where that bass has to make that decision on, do I eat this? Do I not eat this? It's still in my zone. I think I got to go eat it, right? And that is where the back sliding technique really comes into play. Now, one of the more unique ways about, and one of the more unique things about this rig is the way you rig up your plastics, a little bit different. So something like the back sliding craw, more specifically about the baits themselves that are made for this technique, have a little bit more bulk in the back section of the bait, more than the front. One of the best baits that I have found typically have a good weighting system to them, as well as buoyancy that keep them level to glide and slide backwards. Backsliding craw, number one, this bait right here is going to be just very simple. It was made for this technique. Another one that I have found that has that good balance of extra weight in the back as well as a great shape is the Depths Bull Flat, the 3-inch and 3.8-inch. And then another one, which we'll talk about here in just a second, a little bit later, is going to be the Stank Bug. So we're going to talk about that one in just a second. But let's get back to these guys here. Rigging these guys up is very simple. All you have to do with the hook, and let's take a little bit closer look at the hook itself. Very just standard wide gap looking hook, except no R-bend. You actually have a little bit of a monofilament or fluorocarbon keeper there, and all you have to do to rig this is you're going to go through the meaty part of the head and try to get it as straight as possible there. So you're going to go through the meaty part of the head, or the lighter side first is how I do it. You're going to pull it straight through all the way past that keeper. You're going to turn it around and Texpose it. And that is it, guys. I mean, that is how you do it. That is it. I'm typically fishing these weightless, almost always fishing them weightless without a Texas rig, bullet style weight, anything like that. 14 to around 18-pound line is the maximum I typically rig this on. Reason being is if you go any bigger, there tends to be a lot of coils. Any smaller, there tends to be a lot of coils as well. The benefit of having that 14 to 16-ish 18-pound line is it remains pretty straight. And I would also recommend, if you like fishing braid to leader, don't use an ultra long leader. Use maybe a 1 to 3 foot-ish leader just to keep that as straight as possible. And having braid will actually help the sliding motion most of the time. Now, like I was saying, when it comes to adding weight, I typically don't do it because anytime you add weight, even if it's a lure that has a lot of drag and a good buoyancy in the water, a lot of the time when you add that weight, it still just glides straight down. And instead of having the sliding effect going down, it typically has more of a wobble effect because that bait is being dragged down straight down instead of gliding out. So, you know, even though you can use nail weights and anything like that, I tend not to, except with certain plastics like this. This is the Max Scent Stank Bug, and if you are fishing any Max Scent style lure, you know this plastic is very, very like dense, you could say. It's very spongy, I guess, which is kind of the opposite of dense. So spongy might not be the right word, but you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Adding a little nub of this nail weight inside right up under the hook right here is how I get this to really have an amazing action. So I'm gonna break off literally maybe like 2 millimeters of this nail weight. And I'm gonna, before I hook this, I'm gonna insert that nail weight right around here on the bait, right there. Just a little nub, or go through that little section of meat there and use a little bit smaller hook. This will work with your other style baits. Like one of my other favorites that I like is going to be the, not the Menace, not the Rage Menace, the Z-Craw. I think it's the Z-Craw. It's pretty flat. It's got some good resistance in the water, and the flappers aren't super big. So one of the main things as well is you don't want a lot of action. So like a Rage Craw, I wouldn't use because that, I mean, the claws just kick so much. A cleanup craw, probably not something I'd use. And anything that has just a ton of heft to it, typically not using. I like pretty standard plastics, and at least in my mind, standard-ish plastics that don't have a lot of just flap to it. Now, the backsliding craw, it has pinchers, but they're solid pinchers and they don't have any flanges on them, which allow them to really kick. These kind of just shake in the water. Same thing with these. The Speed Craw's kind of the same deal, where it's pretty flat. It's got these Ultra Vibe style shaking, almost just twisting claws. And then something like this, the Bull Flat, that tail just kind of kicks and flaps and doesn't do a whole lot. It'll still move, but not change the action too much. So really, really neat stuff. Again, the demo package, you're gonna get a full pack of all of these. Of course, each one of these is rigged on a hook. You're gonna get 4 packs, 2, 3, 4, 5/0 of the backsliding or the slide pierces, and then also a pack of nail weights to go with it. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. You know, you can get creative, fish something like a ribbon tail worm a lot of different ways, and being able to rig these without that R-bend getting in the way or really ripping through anything really allows you to fish this very, very effectively around cover. You know, if you're targeting specific water, look for wood, look for rock piles. You can kind of work it back into the rock pile. You can work this around a stump multiple times. And the way I like to actually work it is going to be more of a solid pull on the rod. Instead of snapping it back and causing that bait to swirl out, I'm gonna get it as tight as I think I can, let that line sit on the water, and I'm just gonna do a slow pull up and drop my rod tip back down, allowing that line to flow backwards naturally. Again, 14 to 18 pound line is my go-to. You can even use like 12 on the little 2/0 hook, and you'll have a heck of a time. One of the other things as well is if you are utilizing the smaller hooks, the 2, the 3, definitely have your drag set just a little bit. Like I said, the 2/0 can be bent out, but overall, ultra strong hooks. I love the hookup ratio, and I hope you guys try these hooks out. The backsliding technique themselves is absolutely incredible. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check it out. Demo package is available to the first one that gets it. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.